Well, I know what your name is because it's Tess, isn't it?
Tess.
Lamb. Yeah. And how old are you, Tess?
I'll be 88 this year.
Ooh, so when were you born?
I was born the 15th of the 4th, 1923.
Yeah.
And where were you born?
In Chorlton.
In Chorlton.
Whereabouts were you born?
I was born in Reynard Road, off Beach Road.
Oh, I know, right. I lived in Reynard Road.
And then I moved when I was 10. My two brothers and my sister, but I was the youngest. We needed a bigger house, so we moved to Holland Road. And then from Holland Road we sort of got married and they didn't need the big house anymore.
Right.
So they went to King's Road, near Wyvern Road.
So when you were married, you lived in
I was
King's
married
Road?
from Holland Road, yes.
Right.
What do I remember of my childhood?
Yeah, Chorlton.
I went to St John's School in Church Road, which is off Beach Road. I used to cut through the wreck, which is now known as a park.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was a recreation ground, but now it's upmarket, it's a park.
Mm.
So that, years ago, was the church. A little school and the church. And the big church where St John's is now, nearly opposite St Clement's.
Right.
But it's when St John's was being built, the new one. The other one was called St Augustine's.
And any particular memories of school, like what school was like?
The little school was run by nuns and a couple of teachers. They were both local. Miss Brophy lived in Beach Road. And we used to have little plays and concerts. I was always in those. And I think it was because I was good at always talking, you see.
Right. And what about kind of any shops that you remember in Chorlton at the time?
Well, until I was 11, nearly 11, we lived in Reynard Road, which was known as the Old Village,
right.
Beach Road. So we did all our shopping there.
In Beach Road?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a shop on the corner, wasn't there, at Beach Road and Reynard Road?
The end, we had a butcher's and a grocer's at the corner of Reynard Road called Neighbours. And then there was a farm at the corner of Hawthorne Road.
Right.
And then the flats, Hilda will tell you the flats that she lived in, Ivy Court Flats. Well, that used to be Ivy's farm.
Right.
I used to go up the Beach Road with your jug of milk.
Really? With a jug of milk? Wow.
Yes, that was the farm.
So could you actually go and get it fresh? And then
Yes,
it'd be milk
fresh
stuff?
milk, yeah. And walk home and hope it didn't rain or didn't fall over before you got home. Yeah.
Do you remember when that finally closed, the farm?
I think it was during the war. We'd moved then, and then it's the lead station. So I presume they've still got the cells underneath. If you don't pay for your meal, they can I don't know.
Check on that, it's good.
But those few shops, now there was a little narrow entry, and there were about 4 cottages at the back of it. The corner of it had Benson's, the chemist, which is now a pet shop, I believe.
That's right.
Oh, right.
Well, just go further on than that, and there was a forge. I've forgotten his name now. He used to do the things for the horses' hooves.
Yeah. Oh,
And it was right
so that
opposite
was
the
there.
co-op grocers.
Right.
Which was the Co-op Grocers? Is that the
It's-
one on the corner of Stockton Road?
Yes, the co-op was at the corner of Stockton Road, and the butchers was next to the co-op butchers. You used to buy your stuff, and they used to have a thing go right across the ceiling into the next building and get your money back and your change.
Oh, one of those vacuum things.
Yes.
They're great, those, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to sit for hours looking at that. Oh, look, it's got a hole in the wall.
Yeah, it's quite
Do you remember how many butchers there were on Beach Road?
In Beach Road, there was about 4 butchers. That's including the co-op one. Whittaker's near there, and the pubs. There were pubs, there were none of these coffee outlets.
Do you remember any of the other shops there?
Yes, from Neil Road. That is where the shops actually started into Whitelaw Road virtually. There was the post, there was Richardson's, which is still there, homemade baker, family business. And the shop.
Was that there when you were a child? Richardson's?
Richardson's is the corner.
I know, was it there when you were a child?
Oh, yeah.
It's still surviving.
And after that, there was a sweet shop. I can't remember what it's called, but you used to go in with a penny, and you used to have bags, and certain bags had a little ticket in, a lucky bag. And if you got one of those, you got one free. So she used to chase you. Put them down.
You were looking for the ones with a...
Chip shop. Oh, there's the laundrette.
How long's that been there?
The laundrette's been there since before the war. Because before that, it was a grocer's. I think it was John Williams.
So it became a laundrette before the war?
I think so.
Wow.
It's been there a long time.
Yeah. Had a different name, though. It wasn't called Soap Opera then?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
No,
and I know the chip shop's been there since I was a kid. We used to go for chips and a bag of scrapings because they were free.
Right.
And the newspaper shop was Brown's.
What did you get in your scrapings?
Well, it was like all the batter, crisp
I know
batter.
what you mean.
Lovely stuff, incredibly
they were
unhealthy.
free. And you got a big plate of chips and a big fish for tuppence and a pen'orth of chips. I mean, you could feed all your family for, quite a few coppers. And you made up with the scrapings.
Could you afford the fish?
Yeah, and the fish, well, you used to buy fish for the children, we cut it in two.
Yeah.
Unless you were going to work and then you really had a big fish all on your own.
So in your family, how many were there? There was yourself, your sister and...
My sister, if she'd have been alive today, she'd have been 100 this month.
Wow.
She was 12 years older than me. My eldest brother was 10 years older than me. Then my other brother was 7 years, but they've all died.
So you were the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
You were the baby of the family?
The wreck of the Hesperus well. My sister was a teacher and she was evacuated during the war. My two brothers, one was in the army, one was on the Art Royal in the Navy. Right. So
what
I was at Metros.
Oh, did you work at Metrovix?
Yeah.
In Stretford?
In Trafford Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, I would have liked to have gone in the Wrens, but somebody had to be at home with my parents and I got the short straw. Like. And then you got called up, you were conscripted.
Mm-hmm. Did you work, was it munitions?
It was the munition factory, but when I went for my interview, the lady that had to interview me was busy batting in and out and hadn't time to be bothered with me. And there were some forms with figures on sums. So I'm checking these to try and see if I can have the whooping time for when she asks me. And she said to me, have you come for the office or the factory? So I thought, well, that's a lucky thing. She doesn't know. So I said, I've come for the office. She said, well, it is unusual. Your age group, 19, is for the factory. Right. I said, oh, I didn't know that. But she accepted my word. Fool that she was. So I was in the office. I was in what they call the purchasing department. We ordered the materials for the soldiers, for their weapons and the tanks. But we had a business in Hume, and my father wanted me in the shop.
What was the business?
Drapery and baby linen, household goods.
In Hume?
On City Road in Hume, yeah.
Oh, right.
So I went there and ended up running the business for him.
But going back to when you were a teenager,
yeah.
What did you do for your leisure time?
We used to go hiking, perhaps get the train to Marple and walk along the locks and that. We used to go dancing. Different churches used to have a dance and used to go there. We used to go to the Odeon Wally Range dancing.
Was that the one on Withington Road?
Yeah, it was a picture house after. But used to have tea dances. And then we used to go to the Hume Hippodrome.
Oh, yeah. Still
in
standing.
Boston Street, I think. And they used to have what they called the Fortescue Players. And they did
it's like a musical.
different plays and that, yeah. And at the interval, you used to go to the bar and you had a cigarette and a glass of sort of shandy between you. Really living. But
So what about meeting boys and things like that?
well, there weren't many boys around.
Yes, of course.
All the available ones had all gone to war. So it was sort of the bit older ones, and if they were at home, they were obviously not 100% fit. So you were getting somebody that would need looking after, which you weren't ready for.
Yeah.
But we went, funnily enough, during the war, my two brothers were home on leave. One was married and the other got a girlfriend. And so the crowd of us went to the Hume Hip again, and it was Little Bo Peep. And they had live sheep on the stage. They weren't white sheep. They were originally, but they were dark grey. They were dirty. And they were flecking. You were sat watching, and we were all scratching. Oh, it was horrible. They were alive in more ways than one, those sheep. Yeah.
And that was at the Hippodrome?
That was at
Hume
Hume
Hippodrome.
Hippodrome, yes. And there was a picture house just near there called at the Junction. And they used to say you went in with a blouse and came out with a jumper. And that was true.
What does that mean?
Well, you had a nice blouse and you had a jumper, you were a flea jumping on you.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see.
Yeah. You know, she said, oh, you've been there, you went in with a blouse and come out with a jumper.
Bit of a dive.
Yes. So we used to go there.
How did you meet your husband?
He was born in Chorlton, in Albemarle Road. I was going down the passage near Chorlton Station, and we all used to go down there on our bikes, and there was about 5 lads, and you got, oh, hello, hello, got to know them. And he decided he'd perhaps take me to the pictures, which, it was my first date with him.
How old were you?
I think we were 15, you know,
Oh,
getting
right.
on in life. And it was 6pence at night in the pictures at the Pally, which is now, I think it's called the Co-op shop at the terminus. The Co-op
Oh, I
food.
know the one, yes.
It used to be
It
the
used to be
Pally
Hamburgers. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it was the picture house. And when he got to the pay thing, he hadn't got enough to pay for 2 of us. So I had to pay for myself. I don't remember the film. I think, that's it. Is that it? No. And after that, when he asked me out next time, I said, no. No, if I've got to pay for myself, I'd pick somebody different. Like. But and then he got called up. He went to the army. He had a girlfriend. I had a boyfriend. He was in the RAF. But we still wrote to one another. Then Jeff's girlfriend, it split up. My boyfriend was missing, we presume killed. So we got back together again.
After the war?
During the war.
During the war?
And when he was home on leave, he'd been abroad 3 years, and he said, I wondered if you fancied going to the pictures with me. I said, there's only one condition. He said, what's that? I said, you pay, otherwise I don't come.
I bet you'll never let him forget that, did you?
And he died just over 4 years ago. We'd been married 59 years then.
Wow,
children?
59
With
years.
no children. I had enough nieces and nephews to open Bernardo's home on my own.
You're married for 59 years?
We've been married 59
Crikey.
years. And then we eventually got a house in Newport Road, off Oswald Road, and we'd been there 59 years. Yes, if it had been alive now, it's 63 years. As I say, it's a terraced house with no more money to go into a more expensive house. And when we got a bit of money saved, the neighbours were all friendly around where we lived.
Right, see, there's no
So we
point
stayed put.
Yeah. Did you find it a friendly area?
Yes, very friendly. And those days, we were the younger end, just got married. Well, now, I'm... I've been here long, love, you know.
Is that where do you still live there?
Yes,
Right.
yes. I wouldn't move.
No.
I've always been happy there, and even the newer ones that move in, the younger ones, they all say, hello, Tess, and now I can't say, we're going to the shops, do you want anything?
So you find them helpful?
Oh, yes, yeah.
That's good, isn't it? That's what
And
it
in the
should be like.
snow and in the winter when I can't go out, they'll knock. Well, do you want us to bring you anything? Whereas you think, oh God, these young ones, what am I going to do? Who'll help me? They come and that's worth an awful lot.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yes. Yes, I wouldn't change it.
And have you got a particular favourite place in Chorlton, somewhere that's special to you in Chorlton?
Yeah, we used to go from the Ville down towards the meadows. And we got everyone going a walk. Actually, of course, we used to go down to the meadows, to the bridge. Oh, there was a pub on the other side of the bridge. That's right, yeah. You had to pay a halfpenny or a penny to go over the bridge.
That's right, it was a penny bridge,
you had
wasn't
to
it?
pay.
Right.
And the big white wall, they used to
It had a bowling green in it, didn't it?
Somebody behind that wall was murdered. In my days, I didn't know, but it was a little boy that went to St. Bede's.
So it was not actually at the pub itself, but just on this side of the bridge, yes,
it was
where the sewage works.
Yes, and this little boy was murdered years ago. How, why, or what, I don't know. Isn't it?
That's true.
Do you remember any memories of the war, during the war? Of living in Chorlton during the war, what it was like then?
How do you mean?
Well, were you there when there was ever a raid, an air raid? Did you have to go into a shelter?
Yes, we had to. We had, in Holland Road, we had cellars. We didn't have the Anderson shelters, we had cellars. But I was on duty that night, and there was a big one dropped in the field opposite the railway station. And it hit the water tower. And it was very spectacular, but very sad, because all the water was going up in the air, and it was flowing down onto the railway track. And there were 3 or 4 houses in Chatsworth Road completely destroyed. And we knew some of the people that lived there. We had to help. I remember they brought this man out. They were foreigners, actually, Swiss people. Oh, I forgot. Their daughter was fire watching in town where she worked. Casper's was the name, and they brought him out and lay him on the road, on the sideline. And as they laid him out, they brought his wife out, and she was dead. And he just turned his head. And you could have screamed and run, but you couldn't, because the people that were in charge, I think, probably realised.
Did he survive?
He didn't survive, no. Eventually they got him to hospital, but his wife was already dead. And you think afterwards, when you say things, I couldn't do that. I couldn't pick somebody up. But it's an automatic reaction. You've got to help. And this is what everybody did during the war. They all helped one another. We went to Princess Ballroom. That was near where the Feathers is, or was. And there was a dance there for the people that were a little bit older. And we had this dance, for all the neighbours.
Was this at the end of the war, was it?
Yes.
Victory in Europe. So.
That's right.
When did you buy your house?
The house that we're at the time in now. It was touch and go whether they came to interview us at my parents' house to see if we could afford the mortgage, because Jeff's wage was only £5 a week. Just about, they said we just squeezed in for the mortgage. But to be £5 we had to pay a mortgage. So I used to had so much each week in boxes. And
do you know? Can you remember how much the house cost?
Yes, it was £1,100, and we argued and bartered them down to 1,000.
Right.
And it was taking us years to pay for it.
Noticed about the change. What are the changes in Chorlton that you've noticed over the years?
Well, I personally don't think they're improvements. I liked the shops, the separate shops, T.C. Meads, the co-ops, whereas now you go to Morrison's or Tesco's, they're all under, there's not the personal
touch
that there was before, and there was more competition. I mean, in those days, where the Abbey National is now, that used to be a grocer's. And they had a horse and cart, and from there they delivered your stuff. You might have a couple of... It was Roland's, the bread man, that used to deliver it. And because the post office is such now, in those days there were about 4 shops there because they got bombed. Although during the war, both my sister and I, my mother bought 2 army blankets, and she had them dyed, and then we had coats made of them to keep you warm.
When did you come to Chorlton Good Neighbours? How did you find out about that?
Well, and one of the ladies that came occasionally, used to help with cups of tea, washing up, came from Good Neighbours. And she said, well, we go to Good Neighbours. He said, oh no, we're not joining Good Neighbours. Because I thought the same, well, you don't have to go and sit in a room with a lot of old people. Oh, my back's bad, how's yours, like? So we gave it a wide berth. But then somebody said about the Sunday teas. So Jeff and I used to come once a month on the Sunday teas.
When did you start doing that? What year? How many years ago?
We'd been about over 12 months before he had to go to hospital for this big heart operation.
That about 5 years ago?
When he died, it's like everybody else that's lost somebody close. That's the end of your world. And one of the ladies here said to me, perhaps a month or 2 after Jeff had died, sort of give you breathing space, will you be coming to the Sunday tea? So I said, no, not now. She said, why? I said, well, we always walked in together. So I said, I couldn't go in. She said, well, don't say that. Come to the next Sunday tea. And if you feel when you get there, it's no good, I can't go. She said, I will see that somebody will take you home. So I thought, fair enough. And I got here and I got to the door. I can't go in. And all I once I heard is shouting, Tess, come on, there's a seat over here for you, we've saved it. And I was pushed in with, well, hello, like.
Yeah.
They didn't know me and I didn't know some of the others. And at the end, when I was going home, I thought, that's the first time I've really been out. And I've been with other people. And I knew the next month I could walk into that room because there's other faces I could say hello to.
Yeah.
And I've been here ever since.
How important has it been to you?
Pardon?
How important has it been to you coming here?
It gave me a new lease of life because my eyes had already gone off a lot then. I was registered part-sighted, but since now I'm not registered as blind, I have a little bit of sight, not much, but I get about. But there's Arthur comes once a fortnight on a Wednesday from here. So I had to go into hospital. My nieces and family, they came to see me, and one day I looked up and he was walking up the ward and I thought, oh, that's that Arthur. And he'd come to see me and I thought, fancy him, he'd made the effort. Whether it's part of his job, I didn't know, but to me, it's as if he'd come especially for me. And I thought how lucky I was. And in some ways, with them all being older people, some a lot younger than me, some older than me, you can sort of say about the war and the same atmospheres there. Or when I look, if you're stuck, I'll help you. Everybody's friendly.
What would you do if it's, say there wasn't a Chorlton Good Neighbours here, what would you do?
I probably wouldn't be going out. So Arthur used to come and bring me after being in hospital. Eventually, when I could walk a bit, he took me in the car to Morrison's. So instead of just doing my shopping for me, you got your independence. He took me in a wheelchair. I could pick, oh, I didn't know they still had so-and-so. And some of the ladies that come here, well, if it wasn't for him, would never get outside the flats. They are, what you might say, completely housebound. But I'm lucky. Somebody will pick me up. I can't go on holiday, but we have trips. You go out on the day trips. And it's exciting, you know. You'd be out till 7 o'clock at night sometimes. You don't think, woo, it's exciting. But it gets you out of the house and you're not sitting. Particularly in the winter, I don't go out much because I can't see. And it goes dark. And you tend to think then, oh God, I'm on my own. What? Because you can't do. But if you're with people, they don't know your problems, you don't know theirs, unless they want to open up to you. So, you know, have a laugh, a cup of tea and a cake.
What would you say to somebody who was an older person who was lonely but just didn't fancy the idea of coming to somewhere like Chorlton Good Neighbours where it's full of old people and so on?
Well, I would say, I can understand because I felt exactly the same. All I could say is, if you fancy coming with me one morning, one coffee morning, having a cup of coffee and a biscuit, and just see yourself what you think. And they might say, oh no, that's not for me. Well, fair enough. And they might say, oh, isn't it nice and friendly? You can't make somebody else's mind up for them.
Do you think they're good? Do you think it's good at making new people, new members feel part of it?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful place. I don't know whether there's another one anywhere else, but you always, I don't know, if you speak to many of them, they always say the same. I don't know what I'd do without Good Neighbours.
The Sunday teas.
I come to the Sunday teas. Yeah. I come to the coffee morning. I come to the Keep Fit.
Oh yeah, the Keep Fit.
The doctor said, I think that's wonderful. I said, yes, I've never ate so much in all my life. But there's a lady that's here. She's in her 90s. And I said, does it help you to keep you fit? She said, well, I've got a shelf in my cupboard that she used to have to stand on a little stool to reach for something. But she said, I can now reach. Because some of the exercises, you know, you're reaching up. And she said, I can now. Which it's not good to stand on a stool.
No.
The first week I joined, because I've only been about 18 months to the Keep Fit, a lady said to me, have you been before? So I said, no. So she says, how old are you? So I said, I'm 87. Thinking, oh, you don't look it. She said, I'm 94. So I thought, oh, go in and shut your door. But I mean, what bit of sight I got, she could do all these things. And it's only through mixing with people and the later part of my life, one of the finest things I did was joining Good Neighbours.
Okay, well, we'll bring that to an end. Thank you very, very much.